Hey there, this is Pete Buchwald, and I have a presentation called The Top 10 Ways to Screw Up Your Homemade Song Demo. I've been a part of a lot of songwriting circles, both in real life and online, and I hear a lot of homegrown song demos, and there's some stuff that sounds just fine, and there's some things that I think could be improved. You know, we really want to frame our songs in the best light, and there's little things that can be distracting. I don't think that, and those distractions don't help us at all in trying to present our song to our listeners. So this is mainly along those lines. I also teach classes in audio production at a university, and I see a lot of student projects, and I see the things that they tend to do and tend to forget to do. So I want to kind of make some corrections along those lines too, to just in response to what I've seen other people do and turning in their projects. Of course, when I made a top 10 list, I thought of an 11th at the last minute and wanted to include that. And that is that one mistake would be to not take the time to experiment with microphones or placement. Moving a microphone just a little bit left to the right or closer or farther can make a huge difference. So make sure to try that. And if you have the luxury of trying one or two or more microphones on the singer or on the guitar, whatever, that can pay off big when it comes time to mix. As much as possible, you really want to mix it right at the microphone and not try to rely on plugins and tweaking it later. And even with microphones on a guitar, it's going to vary from guitar to guitar, which microphone might sound better. I need to keep moving quickly. Number 10, too much or too little reverb. We tend to mix our own voices, and if you're making your own song demos, maybe you're mixing your own voice, and that's a hard thing to do, to mix your own voice, because you're very self-conscious, and maybe you lose objectivity because you maybe feel insecure about your vocals, and so you might put a little more reverb on it than you would if you were not mixing your own voice. But you want that voice to be a little more clear and dry, and you want the lyric to be very clear for your listeners. And remember, reverb creates a sense of space, and so the things that would be farther away, if you're looking at a show on a stage, the backing vocals, the drums, those might get a little more reverb to create a sense of depth for the listener. So maybe try using less reverb, or maybe try using a delay for your lead vocal. A little bit of a delay can retain the clarity but give a sense of width, or just kind of a cool concert or studio sort of sound. The delay can be a good way to go. Number 9, lack of correction for the proximity effect. The proximity effect comes into play with a microphone as it comes closer. And almost every microphone, as it gets closer, it not only gets louder into the recorder, but the low frequencies kind of get boosted. So think of a DJ in the radio. They typically have the microphone pretty close and it sounds pretty bassy. So it's the same sort of thing. And maybe for your recording, that's going to be a great thing. It'll help, but maybe not. So if you don't like it, you're going to use an EQ to carve out below about 100 hertz. On an analog console, there's a button that you would push that would filter out frequencies below 100 hertz, and you'd use that on a vocal. So in a recording environment in a computer, keep it in mind, sometimes you'll want to do the same thing. Poor use of the stereo field. Stereo field means left to right. We have the ability in these computer programs to decide, if a sound is going to be in the left speaker or the right or dead center. You're going to keep your vocal dead center, your lead vocal in the center. Keep your bass in the center, your bass drum, if there is one, in the center. But let's take a listen to these acoustic guitars. Let's start with them center. I'm option clicking on those. If you option click on something, it kind of takes it to the 0 position in Logic or Pro Tools. Maybe other programs too, I don't know. So lead vocal, let's solo her. And solo my acoustic guitars. Apple 2 to get over my oh, Apple 1 to get to my arrange view. Looks like things are going on here. Let's see if it works.
Realize it.
Okay, takes a second for it to kind of warm up.
It was just a lie.
Listen to the guitars as I pan them out on the fly here. Here we go.
Yeah, it was just a lie, and I still don't know why.
Bring everything back to the center. Oh, love ya. We'll go back about 16 bars or so.
The hours disappeared, speaking, that dream's fading, and
so you want to keep that vocal center and to help bring clarity. You know, sometimes panning things around the stereo image can be helpful. All right, let's get cruising along here. Number 7, instrument out of tune. This mainly pertains to guitars, but get a good tuner. For the studio, I think you want something like a strobe tuner that tunes it really well. A lot of the tuners out there only tune it within 3 cents accuracy, which means that one string could be 3 cents flat and the other could be 3 cents sharp, and the difference could be 6 cents, and it's not very good. You know, in the studio, it's really under the microscope, and you want to use a great tuner. But the Planet Waves with the strobe setting pedal can be great for that. There's some iPod apps, iPhone, iPod apps that are great for that sort of thing. I've had musicians plug in their guitar to my tuners and they tune it up and they can't believe how good it sounds. So it makes a big difference to have a good tuner. Master level too high or too low. So find one of the louder parts of your song and watch your master meter. In Pro Tools you have to create one, there's not a default one. But it should be peaking out, you know, in the 90-95% area. And if it's, you know, above that and peaking into the red, or if it's really low, try to learn how in your program to select all the faders, and then you can move them up and down proportionally by grabbing one. It still keeps your mix, so learn how to do that. That can be a helpful way to do it. Alright, let's get cruising along. MIDI violating the Hippocratic Oath. The Hippocratic Oath is an oath that doctors take before they get their license, and it basically says that they promise to do no harm. And with a lot of these MIDI tools out there, you know, things can sound kind of weird if we're not careful. So with our MIDI, we want to try to serve the song. We don't want to hurt the song. We want to frame it in the best light possible. So we need to be careful. We got to retain objectivity. Drum, you know, next to the vocal, the drums are going to be the loudest thing in the mix probably. So having a dedicated good drum program like Easy Drummer, or, you know, there's others out there, BFDs and some others. I like the ease of use and the price of the Easy Drummer. It costs about $150, and you can buy additional drum sets like this Nashville kit that is, you know, either standard drum kit, or you can use brushes on it and stuff like that. It's pretty neat. And with these sorts of things, you got, you know, drum grooves that are pre-programmed, and you just drag and drop these into your session, and you're up and going. So these are great. Let's see, another free one. Oh, let me go back to there's a free one that's really nice called Drum Core by Submersible Music. It's really nice. There's no excuse to not get it. It's great. That one, it would even work in GarageBand. Let's see, number 4, pitch correction abuse. The first thing to keep in mind with pitch correction is that vibrato and pitch correction do not play together well. So here's a pitch correction. Take a listen, if you can, sometime to the band Nickel Creek on their song Lighthouse. Because I was listening to that and they hit the pitch correction hard, but you don't notice it because there's no vibrato. So that's one point. Another is this response time is the main thing that could cause problems. If it's too fast, you start to get those little artifacts that you get the T-pain effect by cranking this all the way. So be artistic with this. If you can learn how to automate this response knob in your computer environment, that'd be great. If you know what all the melody notes are that are used for your song, if you can program a custom scale so that the software would only use those notes when it tries to fix the correction, that's another good way to use that plugin. Keep moving. We could do a whole presentation on pitch correction pretty easily. With the vocal, we won't camp out on this too long. The vocal is really where you got to sell the song. So do what you have to. Hire somebody to come in and sing your song. You can get by with an okay guitar performance, okay piano, but the vocal is really where you can't cut corners at all. Let's see, 2 more points. Recording level too low or too high. Now when you record, the waveform should look more like mountain ranges and less like a string of yarn. So this one is okay. Let's go up. That's okay. That's alright. That's okay. Oh, that's not so good. It looks more like a string of yarn, doesn't it? A lot of the tools we have in the computer really look to that mountain range to do what they want to do. So record it correctly, and you'll be taking advantage of the digital recorder. A low-level signal like this would be more pixelated. If we zoomed in on it, it'd be a lot more like stair steps. Whereas if you use more of the dynamic range available, it'd be a lot more smooth. And I think that's what we would want in our recording. Oh yeah, another point with this and with the master level that we talked about earlier is don't mistake the volume you hear for the volume you're dealing with in the computer. You have to use your eyes to figure out what's going on if you're making the most of the computer. Alright, I think there's one more point. Just quickly, the thing that you need most in your song, more than the plugins and anything else, is to do what you can to capture the passion and emotion. If it's a song about being in love, the vocals should sound like they're in love. If it's an upbeat song, you want the musicians to sound like they're having fun. So whatever you have to do to get there, make sure you capture good emotion in your production. Well, I hope this has been a helpful discussion for you, and I look forward to hearing your comments, maybe what you would have on your top 10 list of ways to goof up production, or tips you have for us on doing your own homemade demos. It's a great day and age when we can record home demos and take advantage of the technology. And yeah, I encourage you to keep practicing it. It's a musical instrument. It takes time, and just practice. Go back and forth between practicing and then listening to music and figuring out, okay, that's what a drummer does in that situation, or that's what a bass player does. And you can learn a lot by going back and forth between practicing, producing, and then listening to music that was created by professionals. So, and good luck in your production. I look forward to hearing from you, maybe hearing some of what you're up to in your studios. Thanks a lot.